I don't think there's ever been a boxer more eager to score a knockout than Nigel Benn.
The shouting in the opening round. So just over a minute, a left hook out of the blue.
Welcome back to Quick Hits here on BLTV Extra. On this series, we take a break from our longer, edit-heavy videos to briefly recap a fighter's career of note.
Now you might start believing in the Dark Destroyer. Start believing I'm number one, second to no one.
In today's video, we turn the clock back to 1987 and revisit the rise of one of boxing's most destructive middleweights, Nigel Benn.
On a scale of 1 to 10, his punching power is a perfect 10, and that is no doubt.
If you enjoy our videos, remember to press the like button and be sure to subscribe if you're new. Nigel wasn't a man that liked to waste time, so we better jump straight to the action. Nigel Benn was born and raised in Ilford, London during the sweet prime of the swinging 60s, quite possibly the most laid-back decade in recent human history. Yet, his parents were said to have been stern and raised their children all the same. By early teenhood, Benn had been arrested for multiple misdemeanors and quickly embarked on a military career to set his priorities straight. He served 4.5 years for the 1st Battalion of the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers. He traveled the world fighting wars, embraced strict discipline, and most importantly, learned how to box. Benn campaigned at welterweight during this time and defeated every opponent he faced on the amateur circuit. So dominant, in fact, he even fought men at the heavyweight limit. Once Benn left the army, he signed a multiple fight deal with the UK's leading promoter in Frank Warren. Benn promised violence from the get-go and embarked on a new journey under the alias the Dark Destroyer.
What a bonus for the crowd here in Wisbech to see, for my money, the most exciting prospect in British boxing at the moment. Nigel Benn in the golden trunks tonight by approximate script. That is right in the script. Oh, and he nailed him there, and he made it go. He just got
Harry Mullen, a popular boxing journalist at the time, dubbed Benn the ultimate fighting machine, as the now 21-year-old steamrolled every domestic rival with ease.
He's come back for more. Not much longer.
Benn adopted the Mike Tyson peekaboo style to close the gap and land its vicious hooks. His frantic footwork and constant weaving had his opponents on edge from the opening bell.
And paid for it.
At this point, Benn was a 2-round fighter at best. He simply channeled all the anger he had built up inside of him and unleashed it uncontrollably for the first few minutes.
So 2 on the turn now for Nigel Benn, a destructive punch at Tyson. Oh. So just over a minute, a left hook out of the blue.
No one was able to withstand his rage.
I can become world champion because I'm dedicated, I'm very hungry, and I think, I've got the will to win. I don't want to be second to nobody. I personally do hate him, hate him, hate him.
In Benn's first 22 fights, he knocked out each and every one of his opponents. The most feared man in British boxing was the word on the street. Who would be brave enough to enter the ring with him?
I shall take you out on the night of the 18th of November. You are mine, you belong to me.
Well, there was another young man slipping slightly under the radar during the same time period. He was cleaning clocks as brutally as Benn, and letting it be known to whoever tuned in that the man from London was his #1 target.
Ambrose Mendy's standing right here. I want your boy. He belongs to me, he's mine.
Benn was openly enraged by the audacity of Chris Eubank trying to belittle his name and achievements. He lit the fuse, he told the ITV. He lit the fuse good. If the British public didn't know Eubank beforehand, they certainly did during the build-up. Benn was his usual aggressive, angry self, while Eubank, on the other hand, tormented his rival with an unusual, soft-spoken demeanor.
I have to say, there seems an element of genuine hate between these two, Ambrose.
For sure.
I have nothing to say to Nigel. I find the man intolerable in that he's so wild. I have no time for such people. He has no class as far as I see it.
After a frantic weigh-in, which saw Benn cut 6 pounds in 6 hours, the fight was finally on.
Let's see with us. There's great expectations here, there really is.
Benn entered the ring a heavy favorite. He was the WBO world champion and coming off a first-round KO with a much more accomplished Iran the Blade Barkley. Eubank appeared calm and ready, but this was a big step up for him.
He's such an unusual man, this Chris Eubank, he really is. Oh, he's coming outside on. stand-up sluggers that he nailed.
Any strategy went out the window from the first bell. It was like a British version of Hagler-Hearn.
Well, Eubanks has taken that one, Reg. Yeah, he's not going to be able to strut. He's going to have to try and hurt Ben. He's done it, Reg.
He's done Ben by the look of it.
He could do the business. Well, he's mixing it in the world. And that was a lovely uppercut shot.
Ben landed a ferocious uppercut in the fourth, which caused Eubank to lacerate his tongue, an injury worthy of a stoppage. But Eubank hid the evidence and continued to fight.
Again, he's doing that, you see. Round 5.
The next few rounds were close, but Ben edged ahead on the cards, and he scored a flash knockdown in the 8th. Eubank wasn't hurt, and he battled back quickly and was eventually paid off for some unorthodox movements that opened Ben up for a flurry of shots.
He was stalling for that.
That was Ben.
Oh, what a shot. Opened him up with the left hand and then shot the right hand over. It connected.
Watch, Reg. Let's look at the finish of the belt.
It's all over in the 9th round.
Three months later, Ben was back doing what he does best, scoring knockouts and reclimbing the world rankings.
Big right hand, left hook right hand.
Come and fight me. Give the public what they want to see. Not all these John Jarvis who's had 7 fights in 7 years. Fight someone like me who's been fighting all the time and who wants to have a fight with you.
He rematched Eubank some years down the line, this time earning a draw in what has to be said was an all-time classic. Over 500,000 people worldwide watched the Ben Eubank rematch, which caught the eye of superstar promoter Don King, who wanted his own young, hungry fighter Gerald McClellan to get a slice of the pie.
Look at the man's record. Had 20-odd knockouts in the first round.
An American writer that I was reading this week rates you as the #2 in the world pound for pound.
Who was #1?
With the promise of a record-high purse, Ben accepted the American's challenge, knowing full well he was a significant underdog.
First of all, the newspapers are saying this is going to be the fight of the decade. One thing's for sure, it's not going to last the distance.
I would personally rank McClellan the hardest puncher ever at the middleweight limit. He could break a fighter down effortlessly. Just ask Julian Jackson.
Can McClellan finish him off? He's down again!
McClellan himself predicted, "I can't see anything less than a vicious knockout," and after just 35 seconds, he pulverized Ben out of the ring.
McClellan looking for him straight away, Reg. Right from the opening bell, he's looking for the finisher.
He's ducking very low, Jim, below the waistline, and he looks as though he's done him in the opening round, and we thought this might happen.
Ben was never the type to lay down and feel sorry for himself, so he jumped right back up and proceeded to go toe-to-toe with the American slugger.
That's better. He has to get his body weight forward, get some punches off.
There's the old darkness warrior now getting back to his fighting days.
The bout started to even out, Ben arguably taking control, but McClellan, being the warrior he was, fought back and scored another knockdown in the 8th.
Right above us here, Jim. Look at there he goes again. The wounded lion bit again. But he's back in trouble here.
Legs of that, Reg.
He's got to get out of that corner, Jim. He's got to get out of that corner, and he won't. But he doesn't mind being in the corner. That was the own impetus.
Ben, on his last legs, threw the kitchen sink at Gerald. His off-balance and rash attacks resulted in a nasty head clash, and some people think it was the deciding factor in the fight, but we'll never really know.
He's punching McClellan down there.
He's going to stop him, I'll tell you that now. This fella doesn't like it the way he's going down. He's going to count him out.
He's quit.
He's done him. He's quit. What a fantastic performance. This ring is going to be like the London Underground.
What seemed like a premature stoppage was quickly deemed a severe injury. McClellan suffered a bleed on the brain and spent 2 weeks in a coma, and he never made a full recovery. McClellan was one of my all-time favorite fighters, and it's hard to edit back the footage, but in doing so, it gave me an elevated level of respect for Nigel's performance overall. He was a massive underdog, but fought the greatest fight of his career to gain victory. I wish it could have ended differently, but this is a dangerous sport, and each fighter knows every contest they enter could well be their last. Ben was never the same after the G-Man matchup. He fought 5 more times and lost his last 3. After retirement, Nigel underwent a career as a DJ before moving to Sydney, Australia to bring up his family alongside his wife Carolyn. Benn is now a born-again Christian and seeks only the glory of his now-fighting sons, Harley and Connor. There were rumors of a 2019 comeback, but thankfully, for the vast majority of boxing fans at least, he suffered a minor injury and called it off.